Welcome to the Galt Experience. I'm here with Michaela Calloway that has been with GIG now for 8 years. I want to have Michaela come in here. Michaela, thank you for coming, by the way.
Thanks for having me.
We want to have her come in here and talk about the history of Michaela and Galt Insurance. I'll tell you a little bit about how it started. Michaela's mom was my right-hand man for 5 years at Galt when I first started the company. Shout out Jennifer. And after that, I knew of Michaela because she used to come in the office with you and your two brothers, and you guys would run up and down the hallways and go up and down the elevators. So much so that she got in trouble. I want her to share that story in a little bit, but that is how the history of Michaela and Galt kind of started. So, Michaela, tell us a little bit about you being a child. You're Boston's age. You're 12 years old, and you and your brothers were coming here to the office and getting in trouble. I don't know if you pulled a fire alarm, but you might have got close to it. So how'd that work?
I want to say I was 8th grade whenever I remember. I'm sure my mom had worked here prior to that, but that's when I really remember coming to the office and seeing everybody and talking to you and Mike. And I think you guys were the only ones that were here that I really remember. And my mom would just let us, she wouldn't let us run amok, but as kids do, we could just she's working.
Yep.
We're running up and down the halls. There was an elevator in the old building, and we just kept going up and down and pushing the not the fire alarm, but it was like the
emergency,
the ringing, just ring to the entire building.
It says fire on it.
And we're like, oh, red button, we'll push that. So we did that, I want to say probably 5 or 6 times, and an old employee had come out and really cracked the whip on us and was like, don't be doing that. And we're like, oh.
By the way, I remember hearing that story in real time, and I thought it was funny. And I'm like, well, if I'm not mad about it, why are you so mad about it? They're like, you cannot be doing that. I was like, oh, they're kids. They're having fun. Whatever. I think it was after hours, too. I don't know if it was during hours, but
it might have been. Time is but so used to run around here. Mike actually, back when mailers were a big thing, Mike had ordered, a box of the big mailers, and they needed to have stickers of each individual agent's name on them.
I remember that.
And I don't remember I was putting stamps on it, the postage stamps, but I remember there was a sticker that we were putting on each individual one, and then putting them in an envelope. And I think Mike, for that whole box, he gave me a Sour Patch Kids box of candy, and I think $20. And back then that was
big deal.
Payday for me.
That's a big deal.
So I was so excited. I remember that so vividly doing that, and it's love that. 15 years later, I'm working here now, and he's still my mentor. So I think it's so cool that I work here.
And didn't he used to tutor you as well? He helped you out with school, or was that your brothers?
I think
Might have been tutor your brother.
I think it might have been my brother. It might have been me too, honestly.
You just forgot.
I just forgot. No, I forget him tutoring, but giving me $20 in the Sour Patch Kids,
that was a big deal. I think that was before we even had a stamp machine. If you were putting stamps on, so that was right before. I think we still were using a fax machine back then, but fax machine, and then we didn't have a stamp machine. I remember later on we got a stamp machine. We thought that was super cool, by the way. But you take every stamp out and put it on there and label. Wow.
Yeah. So that was loved that. Really remember that, just sitting and doing that for hours after school.
Yep.
And I thought that was so cool. And then now here we are.
And then so from there you went and worked at another agency for a little bit. I remember that.
So went and worked at a different agency as a processor.
Right.
Started in the mailroom area, office coordinator, then went into processing, which is more of the insurance side of things. Did that for a few months, and then this company was a small family kind of agency, Galt is. And I remember they got bought out by a corporation.
Yep.
And I just really didn't want to be a part of a corporation. I really wanted to be part of an agency where it's we're all friends, we're family. It's not corporate. And that was just where that agency was going. So I actually had ended up reaching out to Mike, and I was like, hey, do you guys have any openings? And he was like, yeah, actually we do. So came in and interviewed for that. Ended up not taking the offer originally.
So just to clarify, we offered her the job. We made an offer to her, and she came and interviewed, and then she turned us down. And I think you were maybe 18 or 19 at the time.
I was 18.
And I was like, wait a minute. This 18-year-old, what? She turned it down? I go, what do you mean she turned it down? He goes, just said, nah, I decided not to. I was like,
was still working at the other agency, and a few months went by, and I was just not happy still over there. I was like, it's just kind of getting worse as far as the corporate aspect of it. So came back to Mike and was like, hey, I know that a couple months ago I said I wasn't interested, but I am interested.
Right.
And so he was like, yeah, I'm back in and interview again. And that's when Sarah was here because I worked with Sarah at that other agency as well.
Yep.
So interviewed with Mike and Sarah, and then I did take that offer, and the rest is kind of history.
Glad you did.
I think I was a receptionist when I first got hired. I'm almost certain I was. And then 8 years later, here we are. Crazy how fast time flies. Just it really does. But I've loved every minute of it. I love the family aspect of the office. We all really look out for each other when there's an issue or something arises. It feels like a safe space to go to.
Sure.
Anybody here really and just tell them what I'm thinking. So really happy. Couldn't imagine if I just didn't come crawling back or Mike didn't thankfully take me back.
We're super happy that you did come back and accept the position the second time because Michaela, you did start from the bottom here. I remember you being the receptionist and you've literally grown with our company. You were so young when you started with us. And now you have a baby on the way. Congratulations, which is awesome. And family and Mitch. And it's been so cool to watch the evolution. I remember maybe 2 or 3 years into it being like, man, this Michaela is a firecracker. I remember just being like, you were still young. And I'm like, man, she's like, how do you word this without you? I didn't think you played well in the sandbox when you were a little bit younger for a minute. I think with a few people. But then I was like, you know what? Michaela's got a point there. And I start to get to know you better and being like, you know what? Michaela's a rock star. And to see how you matured and growed, and then now you've become a leader at Galt Insurance, and you have other people coming to you going, Michaela, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you're just very calm. You're very matter of fact. Well, you just do this and do that. And if any of you guys have had the pleasure of talking to Michaela on the phone as a client, I mean, just very smooth and very calming and very knowledgeable. I mean, you've been doing this now, like you said, 8 years, but you do the work of 2 or 3 people. That's how good I believe you are at what you do. So you are. And Michaela is a vibe too, and we have ever more trips and stuff. Always brings the fun. Usually if we have a 3 or 4 day trip, she's there for the first 2 days. The other 2 days, she just loves to nap, which is kind of a habit.
I just covered
so she really goes for it for the first 2 days, and then afterwards really enjoys her sleep, but brings a lot of fun and energy, and Michaela is a vibe. Michaela, what do you see yourself now? I'm always pushing you in one direction. I'm always like, Michaela, you got to get into sales one day because you're just awesome. You're already selling every day that you talk to people. You're selling them how great you are and how knowledgeable. And you love what I'm doing right now. So if that's not the answer, maybe one day I can convince her. But what do you see yourself doing in the next year? You're going to obviously have a family. And where do you see all this going with GIG as you grow with us?
I do love the service side of things. I'm a big service. I love helping clients, and I love like that side of things, or that side of it. I don't know. Honestly, the new pod structure, I'm really interested to see where that goes. I think there's a lot of opportunity with pods.
Yeah.
So I really am excited to see where the pods things go. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go, but I am excited to see what happens with the pods. And
all right, so real quick, we wanted to describe what a pod is. Originally, we had teams at GIG, and we would have one advisor and 2 or 3 or 4 people on one team. And we decided that we wanted to basically have one advisor that might have 10 or 12 people on one team. But instead of a team, we described it as a pod. Therefore, if we had 1 or 2 team members that are out sick, it didn't hurt the entire client experience. Michaela, am I kind of describing that right?
Yeah, that's perfect. So we used to have 5 teams, we would call it. So each agent would have between 1 and 3 CSRs. Now we combined it where we have a pod 1, pod 2, and we split the CSRs in half essentially. So half of our CSRs are on pod 1. Shout out pod 1. Woo-hoo. Half our CSRs are on pod 2. And then they have their designated agents. So it was exactly how you described it, where that way, if, say, I'm out, because there's only so many of us, so it's inevitable that there was going to be an overlap of people being out or people being on the phone or whatever it may be, where now there's multiple other people who can step in and help answer client calls or help clients, so that there's not as much like waiting around for a client to get back to them. Not that there really was much before, but it kind of just helps everybody's workload as well as just the client experience overall.
100%. You couldn't have said any better. The whole thing is what you just said there was the experience. We were talking about the Galt experience, not just for the client, but also for our team members. So if you are out having a baby, or if you're out of the office for 2 weeks, or you're out for a week sick, you don't have all the weight of the world go on your team. Or if 2 people are out, or 3 people out. Now, I really feel like it kind of lowers the anxiety level and stress level for everybody that we're on that team. Now it's a pod of a group of people. And I also, like you said, for the client, it's all about how can we get back to the client as soon as humanly possible? How can we give them that experience where if they call and ask a question, we can get back to them? And this also solved it. So we're loving the pod so far. Yeah. We're looking for any pain points as we are going through this, and anything that's there, we're just tweaking it and we're making it better, but it's been a really good experience.
For sure. It's also, I think, helpful having multiple people on each pod, because I've worked with Canali and Lexi for solely for the last couple years. So it helps adding in Jewel to get her expertise on things, or
sure.
Vice versa, Jewel learning how we have done things, and we can just pick the best flow essentially and workflow and use that as compared to before, because we're in our own lanes and each individual team might have been doing something different, whereas now we're all on the same page and doing things together instead of just like each individual agent has their own team and they're doing their thing and in their own world. We're all working together now, which I think is great.
It's great. It's all about the experience, and the pods has really made it so these people can experience it for the people here at Galt Insurance and for our clients. But Michaela, 8 years, I'm just having little flashbacks again of you and your brothers on that elevator, and then Stamps thing, and just seeing just everything again, starting a family now. It's just beautiful. It's awesome to watch. So it's so crazy. I think this year coming up is going to be just a phenomenal year for you. You're going to grow so many ways, and just it's been fun watching. So
yeah, I think 26 will be a year of growth in a lot of ways. I'm glad that the pods happened before I left. Yes. I think coming back to a whole new structure would have really been a lot, just because obviously there was a lot in my personal life, and then if that had happened. So super happy with how things are going with the pods. And again, it's always back to feeling like I have the ability to go to you guys when there's anything that ever needs to be adjusted or tweaked. I feel very heard here. So I think I love this new pods structure, and I'm glad that it seems to be going very well. Like, we've had changes in the past that have been smaller than this, and they haven't gone nearly as smooth, I think, as this has. So glad that this was done now, and I think it's only going to get better as next year comes along.
I agree. One piece of this story that she's not here, but I think we should talk about it, is your sister Lexi. So let's talk about her for a second. I know she's not here, but you had Lexi come in for an interview, and I remember sitting with you. Listen, sometimes working with family, or working with, if it's a husband and wife, or if it's sisters or it's brothers, that can be tricky. And I've always been against it. I remember you sitting down with me. You don't understand. She's special. She's amazing. I love her. This is going to be great. And you were right. What was that, a year and a half ago? Maybe 2 years ago?
No, I want to say it was about a year and a half ago, I think, is when that had happened, because it took a couple months for her.
Year and a half, 2 years. Just to make sure. I was going to fall someone. I know she's been here for over a year, but.
Yeah, it took a couple months for us to get everything together and her here. So I want to say it was probably about a year and a half ago that I had come over, and I was like, hey, my sister and I would never stick my neck out for somebody if I didn't.
Because you don't like change.
Right.
That's right.
One, I knew if I brought somebody in here that wasn't going to mesh well, I just know how just throwing one person into the mix really can throw things off if they wouldn't jive well with everybody. So I just knew at first she comes off a little shy and whatnot, but as soon as you get to know her work ethic is great. She's the sweetest. Amazing. She's so funny. I just knew she would do so well here, and she's got an amazing work ethic. I think she gets that from me. But I just knew she would do very well here, and she has just flowed into the office, and everybody loves her, and she's doing great, especially on Ryan's team. Ryan's team can be a little sink or swim kind of things, and she's done really well there. So
shout out to Lexi. I remember when she first joined, I was like, all right, Michaela, take her under your wing. It's your responsibility. This is either going to really work or it's not. And you're like, no, I got this. And to your point, she was shy for a little bit. I would say maybe after about a month, though, everyone accepted her. She's awesome. And her work ethic speaks for itself. That was, for me, I was like, oh, wow. No, she's everything you said. So that was a great hire. So we keep adding on family members, and we're going to add another one coming soon. I believe in February. Did I get that right? February? No.
Oh, yeah. Here in
All right,
February.
in February. Yes. And so another thing that we were talking about. So Michaela Calloway, which I've always known her as Michaela Calloway. Michaela, could you let the audience know now your new last name with Mitch, so I don't mess it up? Sahagian. Tell me the little thing you told me how I can remember.
So Mitch always tells people, say it again. So
Say it again.
Sahagian.
Sahagian.
It's a tough one for some people.
Oh, Sahagian. I got
Actually,
it.
for most people. My family can't say it yet. We're working on it.
Well, Michaela Sahagian, thank you for being on the Galt Experience. You were great.
Thank you.
And if you guys like this, please share it, subscribe it. If you guys know and love Michaela Sahagian, go ahead and give her a comment. And thank you guys for watching. Thanks, Michaela.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.